Rooster with Attitude podcast fans. This is Roscoe Rooster along with Waldo.
Hey.
And we got a special guest with us today.
An extra special guest?
Extra special guest.
Wait, did you say an extra crispy guest?
No, I'm not the rooster.
It's one of the hens.
One of the hens.
The most important hen.
The most important hen. The probably the best button pusher that Just Us Production has.
Well, of course. I mean, Waldo's your other option.
No, I just want to keep Waldo behind the mic.
Hey, somebody's got to keep the ratings up.
Yeah, I mean, when you got me laughing before they got the first hold in, you're doing pretty good.
It'd just be nice if somebody other than the people doing production got to hear it, but that's another story.
That's true. I guess you got to go to YouTube on that. But.
Well, you know, if Eric Foster knew how to work, yeah, I'm talking junk about Eric Foster already. Hey, how long did that take? Like less than a minute? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's been less than a minute. I think we went 15 before you started talking junk the last time.
Well, I'll see if I can do better
Fred?
this time.
Why would you talk junk about Fred? Oh, wait, never mind.
If you have to ask what's wrong with Fred, you might have a problem too, but that's another story.
I agree. But yeah,
well,
go ahead, Derek.
Well, I was just going to say, of course, thanks everybody to listening. If you're hearing this, we appreciate you. This episode, which is episode 2, we're 2 whole episodes in. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. I'm kind of in shock. I'm glad of it, but
I know. I mean, I can't believe anybody would sit and listen to us talk. Melissa's been trying to get us to shut up for years.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and plus we're trying something new on the podcast. That actually, in my little studio is Melissa and I, and we got you over on the phone.
We do. I'm in my own little nerd room at home. So hey, I'm comfortable.
Hey, get my nerd room and your nerd room, but I'm still working on my nerd room. I still got a little bit to do in here.
Well, I could probably give you some stuff. Lord knows I got too much. But anyway, and Jamie will probably come in here boxing up if she hears me saying that. But anyway, moving on. But first of all, I guess we ought to throw out there that, you know, that normally we plan on talking about sports, wrestling, all that good stuff. But this go around, we're going to stick directly with professional wrestling. And the reason we're going to do that is last weekend, of course, not this past Sunday, but Sunday before, we got the unfortunate news of the passing of Bobby the Brain Heenan, one of my absolute, and I know for you guys as well, one of my all-time favorite personalities in professional wrestling, and one of my heroes. If you ever do get to hear the commentary that I'm on, you'll know that he certainly influenced what I try to do. I'm not comparing myself to him by any means. If I had a thousandth of his talent, maybe I could do something, but. So we decided this week, in his memory, we would stick strictly to talking about wrestling.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to do, right?
I like it.
Okay, cool. Well, let me ask you right now. You guys keep the road hot out seeing all kinds of wrestling. Where you guys been lately?
Let's see. We was in, is that Johnson City we was in?
Elizabethton.
Elizabeth. It was between Elizabeth and Johnson City.
It was Elizabethton.
And Evolution Championship Wrestling was Saturday night in a very small gym. It was one of those, Evolution's kind of one of those promotions that really doesn't get the respect that I think it deserves.
They have amazing production.
Yeah, they got amazing production people.
Sometimes.
Just like everywhere y'all go.
Right.
Exactly.
But it was just one of those shows. They're one of those people. They had a place booked, and the place calls them 8 days before the show and says that, oh, hey, we can't give you the building because we overbooked. So within hours, they had to find a new building and reprint posters.
Wow.
And ended up in a elementary school in Elizabethton.
How Happy Valley Elementary.
Happy Valley. I couldn't think what it was called. I'm glad that she backed me up on that. Happy Valley Elementary, and real small place, but packed house. Of course, you probably had 15 people in there to be a packed house after you put a ring and all the gear that they put in there. But
Sean, if you remember the lights from Miracle, remember the real.
Do I remember what now?
The real cool light sets and stuff for the stage.
Yeah,
at
I
Miracle.
do.
You know the fire.
Yep.
That's Evolution. That's Joey.
yeah.
Wow, cool. Well, I could rant a while about that fire, but again, that idiot Eric Foster doesn't want me to. But I could rant a while about that fire because there were some people on the show that really wanted that fire, and we didn't give it to them. But anyway, cool. I didn't know that was there. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it big money there. How much did they put in on that backdrop and the fire and the smoke thing? I heard. Of course, I was during ball season during their last show, but at that one building in Johnson City, didn't it set off the fire alarm? The smoke.
The smoke did, I think.
The smoke, but not the fire.
Welcome to independent wrestling. If you're listening and you don't know, half the time you don't know if you have a building, and the other half you're about to set it on fire. So there you go.
There you go.
Anyway, any good stuff on the show you guys went to down there?
They had a strap match.
Jeff Baker,
one of our big buddies, and your buddy Jeff Conley.
Oh yeah, I love Jeff Conley.
And he was there, and let's see, Nicole Payne. Now, this is, if any of the younger talents out there listening, there's one thing when you go through that you need to do. If you can't make a booking, please call and let the bookers know.
don't just no show.
They're I don't want to say name, but they're women's champion no-showed them.
Like that's not obvious who it is.
I know, but they're women's champion no-showed them on the night that Nicole Payne is supposed to wrestle her, and they end up putting a dude in a mask. And
how do we know that was a dude? Maybe it wasn't a dude. Maybe it was just a very
flat-chested lady.
Not everybody's as blessed as others.
I had bigger boobs than that woman.
Don't make me comment on that.
Well, yeah, but that's a different kind of bar right there, though, Roosters. Let's not go there. But let me just say real quick, if you're coming to WVCW and you don't call and you no-show, I will call you out. So Tommy's nice. I ain't. So let me just tell you, everything I'm on, I will call you out. So let me just put that out there. Everybody know. I ain't a heel for nothing.
Right, and like I said, to me, it's unprofessional, especially when you're carrying one of their straps.
Here's the thing, though. What is it about wrestlers that make them think that's okay? And most don't. That's not what I'm saying. I've got most of my very best friends are in wrestling in one way or another. But, if you got a shoot job, I'd like to think you wouldn't just not show up one day and think that's cool.
Right.
Hey, I try that. My boss doesn't go for it, though. He thinks I actually have to work when I'm there. I mean, I just don't get it. That makes sense.
Yeah, but you work in the county. They're just hoping somebody will show up.
Well, that's true, and hoping that somebody will work.
Yeah. That's the thing. Well, I ain't going to bury the county too much. Home sweet home. But anyway, well, there you go. Obviously, you had that problem. So you said Nicole was on the show, and she ended up wrestling a hooded person to be determined.
Correct.
Okay.
But he had a very good pose on the top turnbuckle. It was nice and very feminine. So, I mean, it may have been a female. We don't know.
Well, you don't know. It could be anybody. Yeah. It could have been Hakushi. I mean, you don't know.
That's true.
Could have been Hakushi. Well, good. So in other words, they had a good show then down in Elizabeth.
Yeah, I mean, Evolution's one of those, they got so much enthusiasm within that locker room.
Right.
I mean, they could put on a good show. There's one guy, he still needs a lot of work.
Which one, Dick Stone?
No, not Dick Stone.
Or Brandon Cox?
Not Brandon Cox.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the Scottish guy.
Murphy Constigan or something like that.
Martin.
I wish I could understand him when he talks on the mic, though. I just cannot understand him.
Yeah, we need to give him some mic. Whatever he's saying, okay, but I wish I could understand what he's saying. But young guy, he's learning, and I think he's going to be something one of these days. I mean,
Good.
He's not even a year in the business.
He used to ref for Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, well, not try to kill the business, but he blew a match one time.
I'm not even going to respond to that.
Yeah.
Hey, I love killing the business, so I'll jump on that anytime you want me to.
All right. But, yeah,
And I'll jump off of it and flip and do all kinds of stuff, just to kill business.
You just
But
do flippy
anyway.
stuff? You'll do the flippy stuff, Sean?
What's that?
You'll do the flippy stuff?
So you'll do the,
I'm sorry. Rooster, tell me what she's saying. I couldn't hear her. I'm sorry.
you'll do the flippy stuff?
Oh, I'll do the flippy stuff.
Well,
Matter
I
of
have seen your...
fact, not changing the subject, but the other day when I saw the lineup for ROH's pay-per-view, I saw the Young Bucks were on twice, so I bounced off the couch and did a flip, and I don't know which was worse, busting my hind end or the tongue lashing that Jamie gave me.
Probably Jamie.
Yeah, they both hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, she's little, but
just like them.
she's tough.
Hey, just like the Bucks, I know sold it and got back up. Anyway, all right. Well, speaking, a lot of the people that you all mentioned being down there for Evolution, a few of those folks were up in West Virginia the weekend before at our last WVCW show, which, on paper I was kind of questioning, but I thought it turned out to be okay.
I did too. I thought it was a pretty good show. First time at the Bluefield Salvation Army. I thought that went really well. I like that building. I think it.
Oh yeah, I do too. I like the building,
lights.
but there's a little bit of a parking issue though.
And parking issue, like Melissa says, it had lights at night, but that was a circumstance beyond anybody's control.
Made my
well,
button pushing duties
We're trying to make it dark,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Make it. They all were dark matches.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. But hey, it was. I thought it turned out to be a pretty good show. Pretty good crowd too for our first time in Bluefield, I thought.
Yeah. Because what would do miracles out there, but as
What was it? I think it was like 70-ish.
I think about 70-ish, 75.
Because, Asher and I worked the door until we had to go push buttons and run cameras. And,
Yeah.
it was about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and seeing that, and when we're talking about like the guys y'all work with at Evolution down there, and in the small crowd. Remember, I say we, but I mean I guess we all do feel a little bit of a part of WVCW. But look where we started. I mean, Roscoe, we were going to the Ramsey School, where there were nights of me and you showing up just about doubled the crowd.
Yeah, but, I do remember that one event in Summersville where somebody's crew was the whole crowd.
Yeah.
Isn't that where I hooked y'all up?
That's where I got a card without a number, yeah.
Yeah, it was true.
When half the crowd in Summersville, if a lot of you guys don't know, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from Mercer County. Where
At least.
And out of 8 people, 6 of them from Mercer County?
Gotta love our
And
indie
there's 2 ropes.
That's right.
Don't forget there were only 2 ropes.
And 2 ropes.
Yeah, because Roseanne ate the other one.
Oh, those are good times.
Oh, yeah. Her birthday is next week, something like that.
I thought it was like a month away. I thought she said something about her birthday was a month away.
It might have been.
Well, anyway, no, those were definitely good times. The thing about our group is wrestling's brought us all together in one way or another.
Oh, yes.
I don't know. I don't even know if Melissa knows, but the way you and I met was at a pay-per-view party, right?
At Mike Loving's little apartment that he had in Athens.
Yeah, like it was me, you, Chris was there, and then 2 people that none of us, including Mike, had ever met.
He just gave him directions to his house. They came and watched the roll.
Did he give them directions, or
no?
Directions were given. Directions. Let's keep that neutral.
Yeah.
Directions were given.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Melissa. I ended up having to give the directions because God forbid you'd know where you live. But anyway, and then that's when I got roped into independent wrestling this era because remember you were getting ready to work your angle with WVCW.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Me and the Cuban Assassin.
Yeah. Love that guy.
Oh,
but anyway.
Hall of Famer. Yeah, the Hall of Famer.
Hey, man, but that's well deserved though too.
Oh yeah. We can't... I mean, he's worked his way. I mean, through Canada and with his dad and stuff. So that was well deserved.
It was well deserved, and I mean he's done as much as just about anybody else you'll find in our area, and I got a lot of respect for Cuban. I think he put in the work and deserved that, and for what he was able to do with you,
he deserves it just for being able to work with the big 6 foot tall game foul.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah. And it was fun to wrestle him. I mean. Yeah, and I'm not giving up the fight. The Roosters going in eventually in WVCW. I'm not giving up the fight.
And Bad Boy.
Keep going. And Bad Boy. We're the many reincarnations, evidently. But anyway,
like another character that we had in WVCW there Saturday.
I still don't understand that. How in the world the Rebel lost 700 pounds?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Jeff Gordon. Okay, never mind.
Jeff Gordon? Oh, my God. Wasn't that amazing? I pulled for him. I didn't even know he wrestled.
Multi-talented. I mean, he's in retirement. He can do those things now.
Yeah, he never had time to work.
Even got hit in the lug nuts. But anyway, I thought it turned out to be a pretty good show. And may I tell you something else? The guys in Tennessee are going to have to quit bringing those belts up here because they either change hands or just about change hands every time they come up here with them.
Oh, that's true, because they had Nick Hammonds lose the Mountain Empire title.
Hallelujah.
She's a big, real Nick Hammonds fan over here.
Totally.
Yeah. And, of course, Toby Farley came up and beat him.
He did, okay. And then in Bluefield, we have the TV titles, like Conley has, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Lenny Stratton got robbed.
Well, you got to look at who the ref was, though. He probably didn't understand the rules too good. But anyway, so there we go. We had that. So we've had a good show on WVCW. Now let's not forget. What are we looking at? October
4th.
Is it October 4th?
October 4th in Princeton.
Yeah, we'll be back in Princeton, West Virginia. And I'll tell you what, I am excited about this show because one of my favorite independent wrestlers is going to be there, James Drake. Now, you guys know James Drake?
Yeah. Of course.
He's good. He's real good.
He really put on a show at the NWA Smoky Mountain one Saturday night. And that was against Toby Farley, too, wasn't it? And, I mean, it was like a chop fest, a kick fest. I think they used every kind of hold in the book. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're in our area, you got to come to this show because Drake, he looks like an Anderson, but can do it all. He can do the old school, the new school stuff. I mean, he's really good.
But is Strider going to put a current picture of him on the poster, or is it going to be from 20 years ago?
Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows? If Foster's in charge, it's probably when he came out of the womb will be on the poster. But anyway, but yeah, so
baby face.
But of course, and all of our regular guys will be there too. We got a lot of talent that's going to be there on the 4th. So
hey, Sean, are you dressing up? Since it's the Halloween Havoc show or whatever they're calling it, are you dressing up? We need to push for people to dress up because we have the perfect get-up. We can't put it on air.
I've actually
Sean needs to be your tag partner.
I've working on a little costume for it, so I plan on dressing up. I've got a little bit of a costume prepared.
Okay.
All right, if you need a costume, you could be the tag partner, and I've got the perfect deal for you.
Oh yeah. I'll have to explain that while we're not on air.
Okay.
What I'm going to do.
Okay. But so October 4th, Trick or Treat back in Princeton. So I guess we're in Princeton on the 4th, and then we're back in Princeton on November 7th for the Hall of Fame show. I don't think anybody's been announced for it yet, but we're going to be there then. And then after that, it's going to be a while before we're back in Princeton. So if you're in Princeton, get over there and see us, because who knows when we'll be back. I know that we've got, I think we're back in Bluefield on November 18th, and then we've got some dates down there after the first of the year, but we're not real sure when we're going to be back over at the building in Princeton. But the Salvation Army Gym, get over there and see us, because you never know who or what you're going to see.
That's the truth, because, it's a lot of excitement going on there.
I mean, and if you come, you'll get to see the best production team around in action.
And the best ticket seller, and the best 50-50 seller, and the best, just, we're everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. You guys are everywhere. You'll get to, you'll hear either 2 or 3 man commentary if they ever find Jeff Griffith. I don't know what that's about. Last I checked, they still haven't found him, so go figure that. But, I mean, Hangman Page was found before he was found. Our buddy Adam Page, he finally showed up. So, who knows? Who knows? Speaking of him, I got to watch some of the Ring of Honor pay-per-view the other night, Death Before Dishonor, and our old buddy Adam Page was on there all over the place. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's
Me too.
Yeah, he's good. He came out, and I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you've seen it on the internet, they've been working on the YouTube show. They had an angle where he's missing. And basically what the angle ended up being was he was kidnapped and tied up in a room and forced to watch WWE. They even had his eyes taped open and everything. It was pretty funny. But how they ended up doing the payoff for it was on that show, he and the Young Bucks, they call themselves the Hung Bucks, they are the 6-man champions. And so the Bucks came out without him, and then he came in through the crowd in street clothes with his wrist still taped together and his mouth taped shut. And he, in cowboy boots, jeans, and a T-shirt with his wrist taped together, he ran in and pulled a moonsault from the top to the outside onto the Briscoes.
Did you? I mean, remember the match with Timmy Lou at last year's Miracle?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that here in Bluefield.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
I mean, that's the thing. And that's the thing that I don't know we push enough is, my gosh, you get to see people at WVCW that are national stars now.
Right.
You know?
Had Cedric Alexander right before he went to the Cruiserweight tournament.
Yeah, I mean, literally the weekend
before. The week before.
Yeah, he was in the concession stand with Asher and I.
Yeah. See, I mean, that's the thing. You just don't know who you're going to see at our shows. But anyway, so Paige came out and did that, and of course we can't get him now. He's under a ROH exclusive contract. I wish we could, though. I just think he brought so much, and he and Timmy Lou had one of the best feuds of the year last year, whether people saw it or not.
Right. Yeah, and especially with that last match that they had in Princeton when he came out with the wheelchair. That was really creative. And had the Cole Heritage belt in a wheelchair and rolled it out there and said he was going to break Timmy Lou's neck.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, the thing about their matches is so many matches start slow, but man, I feel like every match they had started hot. I mean, when he said he was out to break Timmy Lou's neck, he made you believe it, because they didn't play any games getting started. It was just, throw it against the wall and go every time. But
the first match, within 90 seconds, Timmy was already on his neck.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy what he does. But anyway, so of course he was on there. That entire show was really good. I encourage anybody to check it out. It was ROH Death Before Dishonor. In the main event, Cody Rhodes, or I guess Cody, can't call him Rhodes. But hey, I wish we were getting enough listeners that I was getting a cease and desist from WWE. But anyway, I'd frame that son of a gun. Anyhow, but Cody defended the ROH championship against Suzuki from Japan in a good match. And it's got just 2 quick things from that. One is, I don't know if you've seen on Twitter or not, but Daniel Bryan is working this deal saying that he's leaving WWE and going to wrestle when his contract ends. And so Cody has latched onto that, and in the match, he did the yes lock, and then got up and did the yes chance. And the announcers, of course, really putting over that he's sending a message to the Dragon and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens there. But they're definitely milking it for all it's worth right now. But who can blame them?
Oh yeah, because that will be a money maker.
Oh yeah. You're talking about a guy that's been on top, main event in WrestleMania. If that actually ever happened, come back to ROH, New Japan, we'll see that. But after the show, we learned that Cody is now signed exclusive to Ring of Honor.
Yes, that goes all the independent shows.
Yep. He has now got a contract like the Bucks do, Adam Page does. Even Dalton now is on one of those deals. You can't book him independent anymore either.
I love Dalton.
I'd love Dalton too, but that's why. You see, WrestleCade's going to have the boys.
You know our story with the boys, right?
What's that?
One of our first shows with NWA Smoky Mountain, the boys were the curtain jerk.
Yep.
Really?
They were the Tate twins.
The very first match I ever filmed for NWA Smoky Mountain had the boys.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to tell them that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I can't remember who they wrestled.
I don't remember.
I'd have
Probably
they're
the
going to be
Jones boys.
Because I commented on the post and was asking, we want Dalton, and they said that he's now exclusive as well. So I mean, you can't blame them for locking up these guys if they're the only place you can see them. But man, it's just a bummer that you can't get any of these guys on your independent shows anymore.
You know I met Dalton, right?
Oh, I know.
He was really nice.
I was at a Ring of Honor show and once got to high-five him and he shoulder bumped me and I got Dalton's sweat on me, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, and you never washed yourself again, did you?
I didn't.
I understand.
I mean, that shoulder's kind of starting to stink, but, that's why we have to do this over the phone. But anyway, Dalton, I mean, there's a lot of Marty Scurll, he's like that. I mean, they've got several exclusive guys now. And it just, like I said, I'm happy for the guys. I think it helps them. I think it helps Ring of Honor, too, because we need another national player in country. But, it's just kind of, pretty much all you can book on the indie scene now is TNA 2002 guys. No, I'm kidding. But I would like to see some of these guys be able to be booked. But
hey, on that note, talking about Global Force, the next show with Evolution in NWA Smoky Mountain, guess who is going to be in the main event?
Who?
Jax Dane and Crimson. I don't know if he's still using Crimson, but
no, that'd be good.
Veterans of War or whatever, they're going to be there. And Jax is like super awesome. Love him. He's great. So I can't wait. Yeah,
they're a good tag team.
Oh, yeah. Former NWA heavyweight champion, Jax Dane.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, he was going to work Ryback until he got hurt, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That would have been a really good match, even though, Ryback is a jackass. Sorry, censors can buzz me there.
Well, I'll give Ryback a little bit of love and say he impressed the heck out of me at WrestleCade last year. I didn't expect much from him and Matt Hardy, but I thought that was a good match that we saw in person.
It was. I just don't like his comments on women's wrestling. The women are not respected in any way, shape, or form like they should be. Those girls get out there and bust their booties. They may be hanging out of their clothes, but they still bust them. And
well, I saw Roscoe retweet everything he said, so I don't know what that's about.
We have Taylor Hendricks pictures.
That's right. Yeah, my name is Sean.
But anyway, oh my gosh, there she is. Anyway, but still, I thought they had a good match. Speaking of WrestleCade, did y'all see I don't know if it's the main event or not, but the big match they announced this week?
My husband?
Yes, your husband.
I saw that.
Yeah, your husband, John Morrison, versus Alberto, I almost said Del Rio, Alberto El Patron in a cage. That should be good.
That should be.
Yeah. I wonder if Paige is coming with him.
Asher actually commented on the post and asked that. And I think he just sent, Tracy sent back like a smile, like the pondering face, scratching his chin kind of. But I think she just re-signed.
She did, but I know that even though she's WWE, sometimes she's there with him anyway, right. I've heard.
Oh,
so
we will spot her if she is there.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like one of the only ones we haven't met yet.
Especially if Starcade's coming right there 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about that? They're calling that house show Starcade.
They call it Starcade, had there in Greensboro, and I think the big reason is they're trying to compete with WrestleCade.
It seems like it. WrestleCade's a pretty big draw.
I mean, it's huge.
You get people coming over from England and Australia. Last I heard, when we there a couple years ago, had some Australian people. I've seen where people book tickets from Florida.
Yeah.
I mean,
speaking of Florida, our favorite ref lives in Florida. Big shout out to Jessica Carr.
Yes, the first full-time woman.
Female referee in the WWE. I'm so proud of Jess. She's amazing.
And she got to work at Queens of Combat last year.
She did. But she's also, you got to remember, well, no, she didn't show up for that ASW show, did she? But she did send a replacement. But they got, what was it? It was like flooded. Remember?
Oh,
you know what
Lord,
show I'm talking about. The Buffalo Wild Wings parking lot show.
Buffalo Wild Wings parking lot show where I went through 6 tolls at $2 a piece and
don't bury
$2. Yeah, lost $2 on the
This
trip.
is going to get you Thunder Kitty.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I only go to, if it's a show in a parking lot, I only do that at IHOP. But,
true.
Anyway.
Very true.
I like pancakes. I like pancakes with my wrestling. But evidently I was the only one. But anyway, so we've talked a lot about WrestleCade. We need to throw out a plug for that. Our man Tracy Myers and his big show down there. And if you're listening and you're like, what in the world are they talking about? WrestleCade is it's an all-weekend event pretty much, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right?
Yeah, this year on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, they're doing as NWA Smoky Mountain reunion. And then there's also going to be a Queens of Combat show, and maybe even an AML show that day. I'm not sure.
They
George
actually
South
announced
has church that morning too.
That's right.
Yeah, they announced that last week that there is going to be, I think, an AML TV taping on Sunday to close the whole weekend out, and then of course Saturday is the big fan fest, which I'm telling you, this thing happens down in Winston-Salem at the Bench and Convention Center, and if you're a wrestling fan and you've never been to a convention, or if you've never been to WrestleCade, you got to go, because it's like Disneyland for wrestling fans.
My 16-year-old grumpy child loves WrestleCade.
Yeah,
saying something.
That's really
it is saying something, and loves to yell at me. But anyway, it is like you can meet. There's guys. I mean, there's legends. There's newer guys. I mean, there's literally people there. There's somebody that everybody would like to meet. I mean, if you're an old school wrestling fan, you've got guys from 1980s WWF, the NWA. Like today, for example, they announced Terry Funk. And then you'll have newer guys. Like last year, we met Ricochet and we met Matt Cross and people like that. So you've got people from all over the board that'll be there. And then it's like $30 to get in just on Saturday, and you get to attend the Fan Fest, and you get a seat at the show that night where a lot of the guys you meet during that day wrestle that night. I mean, you can't beat it.
Remember, that's where you guys met Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, it was where we met Bobby Heenan. That's right. We're going to talk about Bobby here in just a little bit, and that's where we got to meet him. And then, of course, Friday night now, they do a couple things on Friday night now. They have the Showcase of Champions, and I don't know if you guys saw, they just announced that there will be one of the nationally live podcasts will be having a live show there that night after the Showcase of Champions.
I bet I know who it is.
What's that?
I bet I know who it is.
Who do you think it is?
I bet his initials are BP. I'm calling.
Okay, I had some feedback there. What you thought? I bet it would be who?
His initials, I bet, are BP.
Yeah, I think the same thing. And I'll tell you what, if it is, people better get tickets because that is one of the best podcasts you'll ever listen to related to wrestling.
And
I'm talking about something to wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. It's great, and I'm really guessing that's who it's going to be.
Last year, I don't think you got to come down for it, Sean, but last year the main event of the Friday night show was Pentagon Jr. and Jason Kincaid.
Yeah.
It was an awesome match.
It tore the house down, yeah.
Yeah, I got the DVD of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Cody against Sanjay Dutt.
Oh, yeah. That was good. Well, Cody was good.
Yeah.
This year, they've already got the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon, and his brother, Ray Phoenix. They've got them booked for the Showcase of Champions. I don't know who they're working, but it could be pretty much anybody, and you're going to see something special because they are very good.
I hope it's Matt Cross.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. But anyway, so heard that they're going to be a podcast that night. My guess is it's Bruce Pritchard, but I could be completely wrong.
It could be our podcast. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. That's right. You don't know. But so of course we know Pritchard. He was a longtime executive in the WWE, and so they had a big show this past weekend. No Mercy. Have you guys got to check out No Mercy yet?
Yeah, it was a waste of time, pretty much. Tag match was good. Women's match was good. Other than that, I was playing on my tablet.
What do you think, Roscoe?
I thought the tag match was real good. The women's match, the first half of it was real good. It got sloppy.
Never mind.
I got the look over here when I said that.
No. I was just going to say that's when a certain person took over the match. So, yeah, it got sloppy.
And it got sloppy.
Well, who took over the match that got sloppy? We can bury people? Gosh.
I love her, but Nia really needs some work.
Yeah, I agree.
But, who was it?
Nia.
Oh, Nia Jax, yeah. And
not Alexa Bliss. Because, I mean, she's like 5 feet of perfect fury.
yeah, I think Alexa kind of saved it there towards the end. But like I said, Nia's kind of bulky.
I'll tell you, I'm sorry, Roscoe. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Bulky?
Yeah.
I saw the show myself. Honestly, it was kind of like two shows for me. Like I thought the first half was good to great. Like I thought the tag match was match of the night. I mean, I thought it was really, really good.
Definitely.
I mean, what about Cesaro hitting that post and sinking his 2 front teeth into his gum?
Oh yeah, I seen the aftermath of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was nasty looking. And then I thought the women's match was good. I didn't think the opener was bad, and I thought out of the 4,000 matches they've had, I thought the Finn and Bray match was the best of the bunch that they've had. I don't know. Those are two workers that I love, but man, something just doesn't click about that feud with me. I don't know.
And that's one of those, they could have that match every pay-per-view and not get old.
Right. So they did that. Then the second half came, and I tell you, well, first of all, I mean, I probably don't even have to tell you how I felt about Reigns and Cena.
Oh, wait, was that a match? I must have slept through that one.
Oh, gosh. I mean, thing is, I've seen, y'all know I've never been a Cena guy, but for the last 2 or 3 years, I have seen Cena have some pretty darn good matches. But in my opinion, that just wasn't one of them. I mean, I get so tired of matches where you can predict everything that's going to happen next, and it, like I guess the biggest spot in that match was the table spot with the spear. And as soon as Cena started clearing off a table, I was like, well, he's going to get speared through that.
Exactly.
Even though Roman nearly killed himself, did you notice that?
No, I didn't see that.
On the spear through the table, yeah, he landed straight up and down. I was like, okay, that's not good.
Right.
But, I mean, who else is going to, are they going to dig up Dusty and have him come put Roman over? I mean, how many more people are we going to do this with and trying to get him cheered? oh my gosh, I'm so tired of it.
Right, and the way that after the match, you thought, well, this is it for Cena. And like I said, really, I don't care for the guy myself, but I figure if he's going to retire, let's do it on a bigger stage and no mercy.
But if you remember, he did that once before, and he left the sweatband in the ring. I think that's just his ring exit anymore. Who cares?
Yeah, that was with AJ, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Right,
I think so.
Yeah, you're right.
Man, I'll tell you, go watch any of his matches with AJ or any of his matches with Kevin Owens, and then watch that match. And they're building this as like a WrestleMania main event caliber match, and it wasn't even close to those others. I mean, not even close. But anyway, there's a I should have sent it to you guys, and I'll need to post it on the page if I can find it again. But there's a meme on Facebook that, like, you know, this afterward where Cena's holding up Reigns' arms and like the passing the torch kind of thing.
Right.
Well, they've cropped in like literally all the guys that have done that with Roman. Like it's the picture from the other night that has Cena holding up one arm. It has perfectly The Rock holding up the other arm from that Royal Rumble. It has Bryan patting him on the back from when he put him over and they did that deal. And it has Undertaker over there from when he was taking his hat off at WrestleMania. And I'm like, man, we got to get this kid over.
But he's still not as over as my future ex-husbands. You know, he just can't compare to the rest of the former Shield members.
Well, it's you know, I mean, I honestly don't think Roman's terrible. I just think he got pushed so fast, and it just, I don't know. And doing stuff like this really doesn't help him any. I mean, he needs refreshed. He needs changed up. He needs something different to happen. And this deal of let's take really popular guys and put him over them, and that's going to get him cheered, that's just not going to work.
I have the perfect gimmick. He could do the Velveteen thing that Patrick Clark's doing.
Okay.
The Velveteen Dream. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Anything. Something different. Anything different. But anyway, then we saw, God help me, a complete travesty in Enzo going over Neville. I still can't wrap my mind around that. Not that I hate Enzo, but it just, I didn't understand that at all because I thought Neville had a really good run with the title, and I was hoping somebody that was closer to his level of ring work would be the one to go over him. But
I figured if they was going to put it on him, that they'd let him chase it a little more.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I assume the thought process was, you know, he and Cass were really, really over as a team, you know, and I guess the thought is that maybe if you put the belt on him, it'll bring more people to the product, that kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, that's all I could come up with for it.
I don't know what the thinking was. I mean, the difference between him and Cass can actually wrestle a little bit.
Yeah. Cass, I mean, I don't know. I think Cass has got a lot of potential, but, yeah, he definitely has some room to grow. Then I was excited for the main event. I thought the match that Brock and Braun were both in, the four-way or whatever it was for the belt,
right,
a month ago. I mean, I thought the interaction they had in that was really good. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff between them and that, and I thought the build was good. But man, it just, and I know what they're trying to do. I guess it's the, you know, Brock caught him out of nowhere kind of thing. Man, I had so much higher expectations of that match, but it was short and I just feel like we could have got. I mean, I think we'll see them again, but I mean, I think we could have had a lot more out of that because I think Braun's going to be one of the best things on Raw, honestly.
Right. Yeah, and surprisingly, he's talented.
He is.
Just look at him, you think he just kind of be like just a bully, but I mean, the guy can kip up. I mean,
he can. He's somebody who has gotten so much better compared to where he started at. And I find him I'll tell you what, the week he threw that office chair at Roman Reigns changed my life.
Awesome.
I thought that was incredible when he did that. But I don't know. So, I mean, I thought it was kind of like the tale of two shows. I thought the first half was pretty good, I was like you guys. I thought the women's match and the tag match were very good. I really love that they put Dean and Seth as a team. I think that's kind of rejuvenated both of them a little bit.
Oh yeah, and they needed that.
Yeah, they both did. Dean, especially, man, Dean seems like a different person in there right now. They're killing it all the time, and I thought that was an awesome match. The bar is really good as a team too. So overall, I thought, like I said, the first half was really good, and the second half, a lot of things left me scratching my head. So.
Oh yes.
And Melissa was on her tablet, so there you go.
Well, actually, during the main event, I went on to bed.
Yeah, she missed that one.
I didn't
care.
Well,
if they had switched, because I really wanted to see Braun and Brock, if they had switched that and Cena and Reigns, I'd have probably been in the same position, because I was thinking, man, I wish they'd put them on last. So I could call it a night early. But, guys, if we live through that Reigns-Taker match live, we can watch anything.
I think I was on my tablet then, too.
Really though, think about it. My gosh, that was brutal.
Big guy couldn't even pick up the Undertaker to do a power bomb.
Gosh, well, and not to mention, we'd been up for what felt like 37 hours.
Oh gosh.
Which in the whole, last show we talked about going down to WrestleMania together. My gosh, in 4 days we'd probably slept 15 hours maybe.
Yeah, shoot, the day that we left, drove all night, and you get there, we left here a little after 8 that night, and got into Orlando at the hotel 8 the next morning, or 9 the next morning, and just went and laid down and slept about, 3-4 hours, and...
Yeah. Then we were some of the first bunch to hit the store up when they opened it that day.
Right. Yeah.
It was hardcore, but I'll tell you, I'd do it again tomorrow if I could. Though, what a talk about wrestling paradise. Even if Mania is not that great, man, all the stuff around it's just incredible. So you can't beat that. Well, anyway, so now we talked about all that. What about? I guess we need to spend a little bit of time talking about the brain. I guess, don't we?
Yes, that was a sad moment because the way I found out is when you told me. Yeah.
I saw. I think it was on a place to talk about pro wrestling. Somebody posted there and said that Jim Ross had sent out a tweet about Bobby passing, and so I got on Twitter and found it, and then. There were a lot of posts after that, and it became apparent. And it really did break my heart because he and Gorilla were the kind of the voice of my childhood,
Right.
Right.
So, every 5 minutes when you hear, "Will you stop?" I'm surprised Matt hadn't hit you with that yet.
No, it just he really did like that's the like I said, that's sort of the soundtrack to my childhood was hearing them calling matches. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, if you go back and watch some of those matches, they weren't that great, but man, Bobby and Gorilla made them great.
Right.
And then of course Bobby, and let's not forget, of course, he started out as a wrestler and then went on to manage and on to color commentate. So Rooster, what do you remember about Bobby? What were some of your favorite memories of the brain?
Well, I remember, growing up on Monday nights, and he had his own TV show there for a little while, his own talk show, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then of course, the one thing that really gets me, my grandmother, she'd watch it with me, and I remember one moment when it was the Survivor Series. It was supposed to have been Ric Flair and Razor Ramon against the Warrior and Macho Man.
Right.
And I think it was right after they fired the Warrior, and he was trying to get Mr. Perfect as his tag team partner. And when Mr. Perfect said, yeah, and Heenan came up and slapped him, and Mr. Perfect dumped that water on his head and was choking him. My mom kept saying, well, why is he choking his dad? For years, she thought Bobby Heenan was Kurt Henning's dad.
That's great.
And I thought that was pretty funny. Then the night that Ric Flair won the Rumble, being a third entry in, the way that Heenan would call that match, where's fair? Got to be fair to Flair.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, all those great. What about you, Melissa?
I just remember I love the heel commentary part. I don't remember a whole lot of the commentary from when I was a kid, but Bobby was definitely my favorite. The little bit that I do remember, because I'm old, it's definitely a Bobby.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'll listen to it now, and honestly, I think in my opinion, on the main roster, the best commentator they have now is Corey Graves.
I love Corey.
And, I don't know if you guys saw, the day that Bobby died, Corey sent out a tweet that said, if there's no him, then there's no me. Right. And I think that's really true for him. And I'm like you, Melissa, I love the color commentary that Bobby did. And, people talk about being the GOAT, the greatest of all time, but in my personal opinion, Bobby is one of the only people I can think of that I think wrapped up is the GOAT in two different categories. I honestly think he is the greatest manager of all time, and I think he's the greatest color commentator of all time. A lot of people debate the manager part because of, Cornette and Paulie and all the, there's been a lot of really great managers. But for me, when I think about wrestling managers to this day, I still think about Bobby as being the bar for that. The one thing, a couple things I remember is he could sell so well, and I'm not talking about just when he'd take a bump in the ring, like when he did that round where he and Warrior were going around and they did that loop where Warrior kept putting him in the weasel costume. Remember that?
Right.
And he would. Warrior would hit him, and Bobby would sell it like he was completely dead. So I thought he was good at that. But when I think about him selling, not just like that, but WrestleMania 3, after Hogan beat Andre, the way Bobby sold how upset and dejected he was. Like, I can still remember him riding that little ring that, they brought him to and from the ring on. He was just laid over like, just like he'd lost a relative or something. And, and honestly, he had every reason to jump up and down and celebrate because they were all going to the bank tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember him selling that. And then just so many lines and so many things he did. But one of my absolute favorite Bobby moments is you mentioned Flair and WWF. And remember, he was a co-host on Primetime Wrestling on Monday nights. And the Primetime Wrestling, when they were bringing Flair in, remember Bobby was the one doing it.
Right.
And so, all through the show, they'd show him, he's trying to tell people to get ready. The real world champ's coming, and he was carrying around the NWA title. And I remember, he would walk through the back, and, he could just throw out one-liners out of nowhere. And it was so funny. He could have been a stand-up comedian. There was one where he was walking through, of course, they taped that in the studios in Sanford. So he was walking through the production area, and there's a lady sitting there to monitor, and he says, "What, you don't own a dress? Who dresses you? The state?" That's just hilarious. Just stuff like that. And I thought, a lot of people, I've read before, a lot of people said they didn't think Flair needed a mouthpiece, but I thought he and Bobby together were great.
Oh, yeah. It was a match made in heaven there, this way that they worked. And,
Yeah, and he was, and from what I've heard, read and heard we were talking about Bruce Pritchard earlier from his podcast even, is that, the reason it didn't last longer was Bobby just couldn't keep up with Flair's lifestyle.
Right.
He just couldn't do that all night long and party all night long. So yeah, to me, I mean, when it comes to wrestlers passing, Bobby. I mean, even though there have been some really horrible tragedies in the last few years, Bobby hit me the hardest since. Y'all know I'm a big Macho Man mark, and that hit me the hardest since that one. I woke up on Sunday night thinking about some of this stuff and about kind of like what Melissa was talking about, how I could remember him calling matches and the things that he said, and I was thinking too about us getting to meet him. What an honor that was.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
And I just wished he could have talked at the time that we met him.
Yeah. I remember you could even what little bit he did say, you could still hear that classic voice. I remember saying, "Hey, can I get that picture?" And him saying, "Sure." And you could still hear just a little bit of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was pretty cool. Yeah, because of course when we met him, he was. What's it been now? About 2 years ago or 3, something like that.
I think it was 2. It wasn't this past WrestleCade, but the WrestleCade before.
Yeah, and he was in pretty bad shape then, and I know that he of course had fought throat cancer for a long time,
right.
And that's finally what got him. So regardless, if there's wrestling in heaven, in my opinion, they've got the best commentary team there ever was up there to call it now.
Right. And
Bobby and Gorilla.
And the one thing, I watched this one tribute video like the next day, and this one guy brought up a real good point. Back in wrestling when we was growing up, WWF was kind of cartoonish,
Right.
And they always would bring up, well, who was Hulk Hogan's greatest rival? And, people trying to throw out like Flair or Andre the Giant or Savage. And this guy's like, no, Bobby Heenan. He says, think about it. This guy was like a mob boss, and he kept throwing everybody that he had in his mob to try to destroy Hulkamania. I mean, you had your King Kong Bundys, you had your Paul Warendorfs, you had Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, Rick Rude. I mean, he's throwing everybody that he could at Hogan, and Hogan would put them all down. Yeah.
It's just Mr. Perfect. He had Mr. Perfect.
Another one, yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, in the later years, Flair. I mean, it really is. It's crazy. And, you think about the names we just talked about, the talent that Heenan managed. My gosh.
Right. I mean Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson.
Oh, man. One of my favorite tag teams of all time right there. Right. I love Tully and Arn. I thought that was like I thought that was another one of those that was match made in heaven. The two of them with Bobby, like they were both sort of old school, no nonsense, and then you had Bobby who kind of brought all the nonsense they needed. Right. I loved that pairing. Of course I love those guys as horsemen too, but I thought that pairing in the WWF was incredible. So he just had so many talents that he had. I was watching, you're talking about tribute videos, I was watching a video of when Bobby was the night, right after Gorilla passed. Of course, he was with WCW then, and there was a video of when he was talking about Gorilla passing away that night on their show, and it was just so emotional.
Oh, yeah.
It was. It was so emotional, and it kind of seeing him at that point kind of breaks my heart because his health was still good as far as we know, but it just he toward the end of his run there, he just seemed so miserable to me.
Everybody in WCW is miserable.
Yeah, and it's just a hard way to see some of the legends go out like that.
Right.
Yeah. I also watched part of his Hall of Fame induction, and there's a segment in there. Of course, I can't rattle off the way he did, but he's talking about all the animals in the WWF when he was there.
Oh, yeah, with Jake the Snake and the Bulldogs and
the Rooster, and he if you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it because he rattled this thing off for like a minute, and just the crowd's going crazy. It sounds silly, but you have to watch him do it because he does it only the way he could.
Exactly.
Of course, he was the weasel. And then, what he was saying was, did it bother you that they called you that? And he's like, "Are you kidding me? Everybody was an animal." And then he just rattled off all the. It was really good stuff. But
Wild Samoans.
Oh, yeah. So, anyway, we're definitely thinking and praying for his family, and of course, we'll never forget Bobby. I'm sure at our next show we'll probably have a 10-bell salute for him. I can't imagine we won't do that.
Right.
But anyway, so, well, on that sort of sad note, what else do we need to talk about?
Okay, I got to mention 2 shows.
Okay.
As we're sitting here, I was just thinking, I briefly mentioned the Roosters' Dream Pinup Girl. Thunder Kitty is wrestling Yasha on October 6th in Eleanor. I think it's an ASW show. It's free in a parking lot. We're going to do production, but he gets to see his woman.
Yeah.
Is that the one at the Piggly Wiggly?
The Piggly Wiggly.
Love it.
But the second show I'm going to tell you about, Sean, you may not have even seen yet, and you just may go with Asher and I. It's on Sunday, October 22nd. I don't even know what promotion it is, but their main event is Lenny Stratton and Nicole Payne versus the world's cutest tag team.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae
are
going to be there.
Broke my heart, and I'm going to tell you why. You know how... I can't even talk now.
Yeah,
you know how
I got you all confused.
You know how I love the world's cutest tag team, a.k.a. Oh, my gosh, there she is.
Yeah.
But I'll be in Dallas for a conference that weekend.
Well, we'll send you pictures. How about that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, man. You know I love Candice and Joey. Man, I love Candice and Joey Ryan both. Oh, gosh. I'm so... Where are they going to be again?
There's
somewhere in Tennessee.
Newport, Tennessee, maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
But we're down there for Evolution on Saturday, so Asher and I figure we may just stay over, go to that show, and it's going to work out perfect because Asher is going to be Joey Ryan for Halloween. So I told Asher that I would email Joey or slide into his DMs on Instagram and try to get some gear, but he don't think that Joey will go for it.
Oh, man. That's great. Oh, if I wasn't going to be gone, I'd probably make that trip with you because, gosh, I love them.
And I'll be in Cincinnati bowling in a tournament.
You'll be on your way home that day, but we'll send you pictures of the world's cutest tag team.
So you can't go see them either?
No, I've got booked to represent the Bluefield area USBC in the world's largest tournament.
The Wanky.
The Hoinky tournament.
Melissa, if I was in town, I'd go with you. Hey, I'd drive you and we'd get there before the next day. But anyway.
That's true.
we know the rooster flies slow sometimes.
What vehicle am I taking?
Rooster, anything that you want to plug?
Let's see, just that show, Innovate's coming up a couple weeks.
They've got a non-televised show,
on Saturday.
Yeah.
But, of course, we won't be there because it's going to be non-televised, and this is like our only weekend off this month.
And I'm doing absolutely nothing.
I'm probably going to go to the Princeton Fest, get my flu shot.
I was going to say, will Roscoe Rooster be at the Princeton Fest on Saturday?
I have not gotten no calls, but Tommy Thomason will probably be there.
Oh, okay. So Tommy will probably be there, maybe not Rooster. Okay. Right. Well, there you go.
You can always visit the new candy shop, too. There's now a candy shop on Mercer Street.
Yeah.
And the kiddo is going to be working there. So you can always stop and get candy.
Right.
There for a minute, you say candy on Mercer Street. I didn't know what we were talking about.
I know. I told Asher not to undersell himself and that, to make sure he got the right price when he was going up there today.
Well, there
I
you
don't think
go.
he quite got it, but I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, we'll see what happens, but hopefully the candy shop works out. If you want to find me, of course, if you want to come over to Concord and hunt me down, you can do that. Or, of course, WVCW, those shows will be coming up in, of course, October the 4th is our next show. Then December, November 7th, we'll be back in Princeton, November 18th in Bluefield. And hopefully, if you go down to WrestleCage, you might catch the 3 or 4 of us down there hanging out. Hey, the wrestlers will be charging, but we'll take a picture with you for free.
Doggone right.
I don't know. We may have to pay them to take the picture.
Hey, we're a good time. We'll hang out with you.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely fun.
If you want to have fun, come find us. We'll have some fun.
It may involve law enforcement, but, that's okay, too.
Yeah. If you give speeding tickets, don't get near us. But anyway, then don't forget, over on the Arson Brothers Network, you can find many of us over there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, everywhere you can find us. Maybe we'll find Jeff one day. We'll let you know. You can also find me on Facebook, Sean Allen, and then on pretty much anything else, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, at Professor Waldo, Professor_Waldo. Where can they find you guys if they want to talk to you?
Facebook, Roscoe Rooster. On Twitter, it's Roscoe P. Rays, looks like Roscoe Praise. And on Instagram and Snapchat, Snapchat's Roscoe.Rooster.
All right.
Mine is Melissa Davis on Facebook, and then I think it's MDD_APA maybe on Snapchat. I don't do the Twitter thing. Except for when we're voting for Mascot Mania. That's the only time I ever get on Twitter.
Yes. 2-time Mascot Mania champion right here.
All right. Well, listen, if you're listening, we appreciate you. Well, remember, we're going to try to get one of these out the 2nd and 4th of every month. Right now we're on YouTube, but I've been researching and looking for some other avenues, too. So pretty soon you'll be able to download us and listen to us without using data. Anything else you need to mention, guys?
I think that's it for me.
All right. Well, until next time, thank you to my attorney, Melissa, for joining us this time. It was fun.
I'll send you a bill.
I know you will. He's Roscoe. I'm Waldo. I'm going to go out on my front porch and take a knee and tick some people off. So we'll see you later.